Assalamualaikum, sister.
Walaikum assalam. You mentioned when you were part of the music industry that you never disrespected or degraded women, and you grew up in a home full of women. But how did, after you converted, how was your perception of women refined or enhanced?
That's a good question. MashaAllah. Basically, because I had so many women in my family, I was going to either be two things. I was either going to jump double dutch or I was going to protect the girls. I wasn't jumping on double dutch. So I always kind of was a protector of the women in my family. And when you're a protector of the women in your family, you would never do things that would put them in a position to be harmed. You know what I'm saying? So coming out of the environment that I was in and living the lifestyle I was living in the street, I wanted to have a different perception of myself. I didn't want you scared of me when you see me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want you worrying about, anything. I wanted to be inviting. I wanted to express a more positive side of myself. And then coming out of that environment, that's the best thing you can do. Is show certain characteristics that constitute that you're a better person than, what your environment makes you. You know what I'm saying? Your environment makes you a certain person. If we put you in an environment where everything is just serene, you being bad, you're just going to stick out like this. You know what I'm saying? But eventually, after you get to your little bad phase, you're going to settle right in and you're going to get serene too. So my perception of women has never changed. It's only been enhanced. Because being successful and having women that are willing to submit themselves to your success, it becomes kind of like a vulnerability where you have the opportunity to take advantage of women, even if you never have. But after a while, it's kind of like you get experimental. Like, she's trying, so maybe I should try. Then you try, and it's like, okay, maybe I should try it again. Then after a while, you realize this is someone's daughter, this is someone's sister. Nowadays, this is someone's mother. So this was, for real. I mean, I'm really lying. Everybody in past puberty at home, more in college. You know what I'm saying? So basically, these are the things that, brought me to the conclusion. And I told the sisters earlier this story, and I'm gonna share this story again. I might as well because there's so many other people here. I was doing a show, brothers as well. You gotta understand this is kind of wild. I was doing a show in Toronto, and I remember, I'm pretty sure it was Canada, I'm almost certain, Allah forgive me if I'm incorrect. But I remember these two sisters, man, they was in the front too, with hijabs on. And I'm saying, well, how they get there? Like, God knows how they got to the front. I mean, I can understand maybe a few Muslim sisters snuck out and came to the party and still wearing the hijab, because if they got to tiptoe back in the house, you gotta have your excuse with your hijab on, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, whatever the kid. But they were in the front, and they were rocking. I mean, and I remember, because, when you rocking, you work in the stage, and like every time I came over here, it was kind of like weird. Like, when you go back over here, you got your Loon fan, they go, so you they more attentive, and then you go back, and it's like, yo, what? You're killing it for the right side of the stage. I mean, I can't even rock for them. You're making it hard. So wallahi, after the show, I remember a brother approaching me, and he was like, yo, my sisters want to get your autograph. So I remember like glancing behind him, and it's like, really? And I was like, hold on, this is the same girls that was just rocking with these jazz on, they all bashful now, oh. But the reality of it is, even as a non-Muslim, and jahil as you can get, man, I still knew that it was something about them that demanded a certain level of respect. Because at that point in my life, I had a whole different appetite. Trust me, I was looking for the one that knew my situation, that can accommodate my lifestyle at the time. That right there, I just thought, man, I might have to go sit down with a father, wrestle with uncle, beat a brother. I mean, it's going to be a lot to go through to get that one right there. I'm leaving town tomorrow. It ain't going to be sufficient. So basically, now that I'm a Muslim, I've learned to understand why I appreciated that and why my fitra didn't agree with, at the time, being, you know, disrespectful towards that. And I say this to the sisters because you have to understand the most prized possessions in the world are hard to get to. They're very hard to get to. Trust me. When you think about like walking in the bank, I don't care how hard life might be. If all the money was just all on the table, you know, people would just be taking money. But it ain't that easy, right? You got your pastor, you know, security dude, the teller, the bulletproof glass, the back room, the vault to the safety deposit box. By the time you fathom all that in your head, I don't want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And this is your shield. This is your hijab. This is your veil. You know, when you go to find pearls, you gotta go all the way to the bottom of the ocean, crack an oyster. There might not even be one in there. You know what I'm saying? But this is the effort that has to take place in order to find some of the world's most greatest possessions. So to know that, you know, Allah, this is the wisdom of Allah, for him to command a woman to do this, he did this out of love. He did this out of love for you, and he did this out of, you know, a test to see how devoted you are to this love. So I've seen, now that I'm Muslim, I've seen women sitting at the beach with a hijab on and all that. It's like, it's 90 degrees. You're just going to get a tan in your face? But it just shows you the devotion. She's not willing to compromise her religion because it's nice and sunny and I got a good seat at the beach. She's like, man, I'm still like, maybe my face just going to have to look different from everything else. You know? And these are the things, you know what I'm saying, that I've learned to appreciate. And I'm never judgmental to anybody because I'm a new Muslim and I'm definitely in no position to judge anyone, Muslim or non-Muslim, you know, because what's in your heart is what's in your heart. And what's in your heart, you know, when you become more and more in tune with it, it will surface. It will show on the outside. Doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that you haven't got quite in tune with it for it to reveal itself. So, you know, I strongly urge the sisters, you know, alhamdulillah, stay firm upon, you know, their devotion to Allah. And this is basically, you know, it's kicking me out. You wrote it. Now, but this is definitely, you know, a nikmah from Allah to, you know, command such a thing that might seem like it's an oppression or seem like something that, you know, makes it hard. But it's definitely something that, you know, enhances the beauty of a woman. It enhances the substance of a woman. It expresses things about a woman before she even opens her mouth. Because sometimes we can misread these things. You know, you could be a straight A student, 4.0 GPA. And certain things that you might wear might make the person think like, man, she must, you know, have a late job after school or something. SubhanAllah. But, you know, this is just what a mindset can be like. And I'm just speaking from a person that used to see things this way. So I'm only sharing with you. Don't judge me because I'm imperfect. But I'm just saying that this is, you know, the things that kind of like, you know, create a perception of a person without even knowing the person, you know. But just my recollection of the woman now is just so much more intense because I know a woman's purpose now, you know. And I know my purpose as a man. I know the rights that I have over her. I know the rights that she has over me, you know. And this is something that is laid out perfect by your Lord so that there is no different or any type of power struggle or anything between a man and a woman. A man knows his place, a woman knows his place. We know we must respect the women, and the women know, you know, they must respect themselves. And this is something that is practiced in Islam. And I'm not saying, you know, that this is not practiced outside of Islam, but that wouldn't be true. But the reality of it is, there's instructions that come with it in Islam. So, you know, alhamdulillah, and everything, like I said, that I said is good and beneficial is only from Allah. Anything that I've said that is wrong or in error or negligent in any way is only from me and Shaitan. Once again, I want to thank the brothers and possibly with sisters that was involved. I think the sisters was involved too. Y'all was involved too, right? Yeah, the brothers and the sisters that was involved, and the sisters that invited, brothers and sisters that invited me. Alhamdulillah, jazakumullah khair. And, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.